you know, the Celtics have to get under these aprons. The math of it and the rules in the league are impossible to understand. But suffice it to say, Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are no longer on the team. And Jonathan P. Real says,
yes.
Of course, Wallach knows the guy the Celtics received in the Porzingis trade. He played for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you're a bird.
Yeah.
You look like a bird, is what he's saying. All right, Jonathan, are these players, you're of the mind that these guys are going to play? That these guys they got in return are here for at least this season?
Well, Simons could go because Simons is somewhat attractive. He's 20. He's in the prime of his career. He's 26 years old.
Is he on your list? Is he on your list?
What list?
The list of people that you can have sex with freely in your marriage that you're allowed to.
No, he's not.
Okay,
but I'm not going to talk about that.
You said he was attractive. I didn't know if he was on your hall pass list.
Contract is attractive. Expiring contract. He averages 20 points a game. Niang is probably going to be here. The Celtics, I think, are going to be his sixth team in 10 years. He is the epitome of a journeyman, a guy who has survived in the league because he can shoot threes. He's a career 40% shooter from three. But like Simons, he isn't necessarily very good at defense. So, and he's undersized. He's 6'7". So I think of the two, Simons could be flipped, but I don't think Niang would be unless he's salary filler in a bigger deal. So both guys the Celtics got, Simons and Niang, both shoot threes, which fits right in with the philosophy, but both of them are also on expiring contracts. I don't necessarily think either one are going to be around after this season.
Okay. And so this leads to what is the ceiling for this team going into this year as currently constructed?
Tell me who the forwards are. Right now they don't have any. With Tatum hurt and Porzingis traded and Horford and Cornette as free agents, you have Neemias Queta as your starting center at the moment. I don't know who the forwards are going to be.
Is there anyone? So there's no one on the bench that you like?
Well, I mean, you got kids like Baylor Shireman, but I mean, there isn't anyone really of note that you can point at and go, okay, that guy's going to play 75 games or 70 games for me. No.
So do you make trades because they have the 28th pick in the draft, and according to this mock, they're getting a power forward from Stanford named Maxime.
Yeah.
Maxime Raymond. He's 7 feet tall, so they'll get a big because they're probably going to lose a big, obviously.
My running theory is they'll re-sign either Horford or Cornette, draft the big man tonight, and that'll be your tandem.
Okay, because that's very dangerous because the 28th pick in the NBA draft is not often someone who sticks around necessarily.
This is where they are. Now, I'm with Kendrick Perkins. I mean, the Celtics made these two moves, but they're only $4 million under that second apron. You need to create more room just to re-sign Horford or Cornette.
So you now have to make another move. So you get rid of Hauser, and then you get a little bit more breathing room. But again, now you're still up against it, and you don't have Tatum this coming year. And then when Tatum comes back, you have Tatum and Brown, but you're still up against it.
Mm-hmm.
So really the only move that could free you up to not be kind of trapped. Now, you're trapped with two great players, but we just saw it. A team, the Eastern Conference champion, played 10 players. But Oklahoma City played 9. You had these deep teams, a couple on one team, really no stars, and on the other team, a star and then a secondary star. But other than that, and by the way, Oklahoma City still got a ton of leeway and a ton of first-round picks and a ton of room.
They got 2 more first-round picks tonight.
Yeah, and so, they can make moves and they can still do things. If you're the Celtics, if you don't get rid of Brown, you're riding with Brown and Tatum and whatever else you can kind of fill in the blanks with. And this next season, not even Tatum. So my question would be, again, I am of the mind – you move Brown. Now, I understand you can't. It's very hard to acquire a talent as good as Brown, a top 20 player in the NBA. I understand that, and I don't think you will. But what I do think you can do is that you can get depth and you can get talent and depth around Tatum, and maybe that's the recipe in this new league that Silver's created where parity is what he wants. Being 2 max contracts on your team puts you in this kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're going to have a team with 2 stars and then a really light bench.
I don't think the Celtics. I mean, right now, if you look at the roster, you think, okay, this is just a get-through type of year with Brown as your number one. You win your 45 games and you maybe win a playoff round and then you're done. I honestly think the Celtics are going to try and compete for something this year. And to do that, you're going to need to make, 2, 3, 4 more moves, whatever the case may be, because the roster you have right this second, not very competitive. So, again, you have to re-sign Horford, and with Tatum out, you have to find some way to acquire more talent than you have at this moment. So, as Perkins said, as we came in here, Stevens isn't done. 1, he's got the luxury tax apron to worry about, but 2, if you're going to put a team out there that will compete in a depleted East, I think you need more than what you have.
You also, and I understand you can't operate out of fear, okay? But you have to be convinced that Jason Tatum is going to return and is going to be his old self and will continue to ascend. And if there's any doubt in your mind that that is going to be the case, that he's going to come back from this injury, you can't afford to deal Jaylen Brown now and then be left with a less than Jason Tatum and say, my God, we had 2 guys here. One of them got hurt, suffered a catastrophic injury in the postseason. And what did we do? We dealt away the guy who was our finals MVP when we won it the year before. How dumb was that?
Yeah, but the thing is that you have no reason to think he won't come back. I mean, a bunch of guys have. And then 2, if he doesn't come back and if he comes back and he's not good, you're screwed. It's not like you have him. Tatum's on the team, and you can't trade him if he's hurt. So, I mean, Tatum's on the team. Tatum's taking up that chunk of your salary cap for as long as that contract exists. So, I mean, you're screwed. If he's not good, Brown or no Brown, you're screwed. The thing is that you have to operate like Tatum's coming back is going to be good, because if he's not, then write it all off. If you lose your superstar to injury and you got to pay him out his contract, the way the league is now, that's crippling. So, I mean, there could be some kind of salary dump eventually, but not right now. So if he doesn't come back, you're not winning a champion. You're not winning a championship if Tatum doesn't come back as good as he was, regardless of what you do.
Sure.
So you have to operate with that in mind.
Top 5 player in the league. Yeah.
You think, John, that they can maneuver without trading Brown?
I think they would trade Derek White before they trade Jaylen Brown.
No, I think so. Well,
and Derek White's making a lot of money.
The thing is that, yeah, you could trade Derek White.
Make Pritchard your point guard and try it that way.
But you're still so up against the cap. It's just still, you'll get assets for him, but do you get assets that can rebuild your depth?
I think if you take a look, and I keep coming back to this, but the Desmond Bane trade, while not a lot of people know who Desmond Bane is, Orlando just spent 4 first-round picks and a pick swap to get him. And that sets the floor. Derek White's a better player than Desmond Bane.
Yes.
So you're going to get a lot for Derek White. And the reports over the last week have been, if the Celtics are going to trade a guy like White or Brown, the package for him pretty much has to be out of this world.
And Fred, I don't know if this is going to change your calculus on this, but I push back a little bit on this whole, he'll probably return. A bunch of guys have done it. A bunch of athletes have done it. But in basketball, and there's a whole institute that studies this now, and it's the Achilles are becoming so commonplace that there are guys now making their living on studying and rehabbing Achilles tears. In basketball, it's more difficult.
Well, Durant and Kobe did it.
Well, Kobe did it late in his career.
But he did it.
I know he did, but he wasn't as good when he came back.
Okay,
so
but he was
because
old.
of his age. Durant is the guy, and I'm trying to figure out what age it happened.
He's like the high water mark, but it's 70% return, but something closer to 50% return to their former level. So if that's the case, and you think that they're not going to win without 100% Jason Tatum, maybe you deal Jaylen Brown now anyway. Maybe you
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you start.
I'm not saying there's any. The first part was I think he'll come back, but the second part was it doesn't really matter because you're screwed either way. The $54 million isn't going away. They take up 69% of your cap, which is very cool for what it represents sexually. But in terms of operating, in terms of, so if I'm not mistaken, that only gives you how much percentage of cap left to operate with. And I know there's exemptions and blah, 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 but you're really under the gun. And, Derek White makes $28 million, and that's a lot of money, but, it's not $107 million that you're owed. These two players are making like pretty much in perpetuity. And Jaylen Brown is 29, and this is the most he's ever going to be worth. I just don't know how you operate with both of them. The deals were done, and they had to be done. But, I mean, there are teams that can fit Brown in more easily than you because they don't have another contract like Tatum's on the books.
Right.
So a team would really, 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 really give you franchise-altering returns back.
That's the thing with Brad is I don't doubt that. If they get franchise-altering return on Jaylen Brown, he'll deal him.
If someone wants to offer the Celtics 5 or 6 first-round picks, Brad absolutely would take a look at that.
Okay, and I think that might happen. But can I just address one argument that I hear, not from you guys, but I hear is that you're not going to get someone of Jaylen Brown's talent back. Yeah, probably not. But the thing is that if you can get
so what
5 depth pieces, do you understand what I'm saying? If you can run out like a team, that's how teams are winning right now. You still have the star, you still have the guy with the ball in his hands, and let's not debate how good he is with the ball in his hands at the end of games, because he's got to be that guy. He has to be that guy for you. And then you have that surrounding cast. That's what I believe the future of the NBA is. And if you disagree with me, I think you're a real piece of
That's what
garbage.
the commissioner wants the future of the NBA to be. And Durant tore his Achilles in his age 30 season and has played one season over 55 games since. He's scoring a lot, but not playing 82 games like Tatum was playing year after year.
Right. And do you think that's more the modern NBA, or do you think that's his Achilles?
He's missing 30 games a season.
Well, then that's bad news for the Celtics.
That's more than the modern NBA.
Okay, then that's
why I brought it up.
Okay,
it's a cautionary tale.
Well, then I would really trade Brown. I mean, it would make me trade Brown more because you're stuck with Tatum.
Yeah, that's why I said it. Might reinforce
So
your belief.
Right. So I don't see really an angle to get out of this without trading Brown, because you can't trade Tatum for a lot of reasons. For if he comes back, first of all, you can't trade him when he's hurt, and second of all, if he comes back, he's got it. You're paying. Forget it. I just don't think you could trade him. So we'll see.
The question is someone going to step up and offer Brad that enormous package we were just talking about? I don't know.
Could San Antonio?
I don't know.
Hello.
Hey.
San Antonio. San Antonio, my friend.
A lot of first-round picks. It's a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, listen. You get Brown in the two
no
stars
one
they have
wants,
there.
No one wants to be, the team that traded all those picks to Oklahoma City.
Well, but why? The Paul George trade seems really good right now.
The Clippers, right?
Yeah. All right.